You might already have the skills to land a data analyst role, but your resume is making recruiters miss it. You tweak the layout, you add more tools, you rewrite your summary, and still the interview requests barely come through. I analyzed over 2,000 data analyst resumes, and I found the ones that got hired didn't just look more professional, they made the right experience obvious in the first few seconds. So in this video, I am going to show you what the hired resumes did differently, what the rejected ones kept getting wrong, and how to fix yours in as little as 30 minutes. So you can stop guessing what recruiters want, make your best work easier to spot, and finally send a resume that gives you a real shot at interviews. Now, if this is your first time here, I'm Kedeisha, and 6 years ago, I was delivering pizzas and Amazon packages for $8 an hour. And today, I am running a community of over 80,000 current and aspiring data professionals. And I've helped thousands of other career changers break into data analytics without going back to school and wasting more money on courses that just don't work. If you ever want to work with me to land your first role in data, click the link in the description. Now let's get started. Now, before I show you the piles that these resumes fell into, you need to know how I read them because it's not what you think. Here's the thing. I didn't just sit here and grade all these resumes like a design contest. I wasn't judging fonts. I wasn't counting bullet points. I read all 2,000 the same way a recruiter does. Fast, tired, and looking for a reason to say no. Because that's the part no one is telling you. A recruiter isn't reading your resume, they're scanning it. They got a stack of 1,000 for just one job opening. So in the first pass, you only get a few seconds before they decide that you're a maybe or a pass. Just a few seconds. Not 5 minutes, not 20 minutes, just long enough to catch whatever jumps out. So I stopped asking, is this a good resume? And I started asking one question instead. In the first 5 seconds, can a stranger see what this person is actually worth? That one question sorted all 2,000 into 3 piles. And once you see the differences, you can't unsee it. Now, here's the thing that shocked me when I lined them up side by side. The hiring ones were the ones with the most skills. And I know you've been told that if you learn just one more tool, just one more certificate, get a little bit more qualified, then the callbacks will finally show up. But when I put the hired resumes next to the rejected ones, the skills were basically the same. Same tools, same certificates, even the same degrees. Honestly, a lot of the rejected folks looked more qualified on paper. The difference wasn't what they knew, it was how fast you could see it. The hired resumes made their value obvious. The rejected ones made you have to dig for it. All right, so let's walk through the 3 piles together. The first pile is what I'm calling ghost. On paper, nothing's wrong. Clean layout, no typos, all the right sections, but you read the whole thing and you feel absolutely nothing. You couldn't tell this person apart from 100 others. Here's a ghost summary headline, and I saw some version of this 100 times. Detail-oriented professional seeking to leverage analytical skills in a data-driven role. Super vanilla, super overused. Everyone has seen that 1,000 times. What does this person actually do? Who have they helped? What changed because they showed up? What industry or specialized skills do they have? You don't know, I don't know. The recruiter doesn't know either. It words that sound like a resume but really says nothing. A ghost isn't rejected because a person is bad. It's rejected because a person is invisible. You can be the most skilled data analyst in the whole pile and still be a ghost if your resume only describes you instead of showing you what you've done. The second pile was the opposite problem. And this one might sting because I know you've done it. I call it the overstuffed. These folks heard add keywords and beat the robots, so they packed everything in. 20 tools on the skills section, every buzzword from a job post copied straight into the page. SQL, Python, R, Tableau, Looker, Snowflake, and on and on. It just looks busy. It may look qualified though, but here's what happens when a human finally reads it. When you're good at 25 different things, you're memorable at none of them. I can't tell what you're actually strong at, so I trust none of it. A wall of tools isn't proof. It's just a list. And a list of things you touched once is not the same as proof that you can actually use them to solve a problem. The overstuffed resume screams the answer to, what do you know? But that was never the question. The recruiter is asking, what can you do for me? That is the answer buried under all that noise. Then there was a third pile. The one that actually got hired. I'm calling them the obvious ones because that's exactly how they felt. You'd read the top third and instantly go, okay, I get this person. This is exactly what they do. This is who they'd help. I'll give you a real example. A student I was coaching came out of nursing, and before, the top of a resume said aspiring data analyst with a healthcare background. After coaching her, we turned 3 years of messy patient records into dashboards that cut a hospital unit's reporting time from a full day to under an hour. Same person person, same background, same skills, but now in one line, a stranger sees exactly what she's worth. That's the obvious pile. They didn't have more, they just made what they had impossible to miss. But here's the part that you came for. How exactly do you take your resume from the ghost or overstuffed pile into the one that gets callbacks? There were 5 moves that the obvious ones did over and over. Move number 1, lead with the result, not the responsibility. The rejected resume started every bullet with the job itself. Responsible for building reports, tasked with cleaning data. The hired ones start with what changed. Cut monthly reporting from 6 hours to 30 minutes by rebuilding the process in SQL. You feel the difference there? One reads like a chore list and the other reads like someone is worth paying. Same work, but one leads to the win, the other a loss. So go through every bullet and ask one thing. What actually changed because I did this? And put that first. If a bullet has no result, it's just holding a spot a result should be sitting in. Move number 2, write one line a recruiter can repeat. At the very top, the obvious ones had one plain sentence that said what problem this person solves. Not a fancy summary, not results-driven professional. A line so clear that the recruiter can turn to their boss and repeat it word for word. Because here's what actually happens. A recruiter doesn't hire you, they walk into a room and pitch you to someone else. If your top line is vanilla, they've got nothing to say about you. So hand them a sentence. I help supply chain teams find where they're losing money using SQL and Tableau. Done. Now they can sell you when you're not even in the room. Move number 3, translate your old job. Don't hide it. Every career changer thinks her past is baggage. The hired ones treat it as the whole point. The trick is in translation. A teacher who wrote graded assignments and tracked student progress gets ignored. The same teacher who writes analyzed 2 years of student performance data to spot which topics were failing, then rebuilt the lessons around it. That gets interviews. Nothing about the actual job changed. She just described it in a language of the job that she wanted. Your warehouse job, your nursing job, your sales job, whatever it is, there's data hiding in all of it. Your only job is to name it in data terms so a stranger sees a connection that you already see. Move number 4, prove a few tools instead of listing 20. Remember the overstuffed pile? Here's a fix. Pick the 4 or 5 tools the job actually asks for, and then prove them somewhere on the page. Don't just drop SQL in a skills bar. Show a bullet where SQL did something real. Wrote SQL to pull join data from 4 sources in our customer churn analysis. Now, SQL isn't a claim, it has a receipt. A named skill is a promise. A shown skill is proof. The obvious resumes were full of receipts. The rejected ones were full of promises, and recruiters have been burned by promises too many times. They believe receipts. Move number 5, give them somewhere to go. Almost every hired resume had a link at the top, a portfolio, a LinkedIn, somewhere where you can see their work. The rejected ones ask a recruiter to take their word for it. Think about all the risk that hiring has. Your resume is all about reducing that risk, and a link fixes that in 1 second. It says, you don't have to believe me. Go look. Even with one solid project, you can point to flips you from someone claiming that they can do the job to someone showing that they already have. And in a pile where everyone is saying the same thing, the one who can prove it actually wins. All right, so let's bring this back to where we started. Because you probably already have the skills. That never was really the problem. The problem is that your resume is hiding your best work in a pile that no one has time to dig through. So you don't need more tools. You don't need another certificate to stack on top of 3 that you already have. You need to take the value that's already inside and drag it up to the surface, where a tired stranger can catch it in a few seconds. Lead with results, give them one line that they can repeat, translate your past, and show your skills instead of just listing them. And hand them a link so that they can see what's real. Do that, and then you stop being a ghost. You stop being a wall of keywords, and you become the obvious one. The resume where the answer is right there on the page, and the recruiter's only real move is to reach out. Because you were never getting passed over because what you don't know, you were getting passed over because what they couldn't see. So make them see it. And if you want the exact breakdown that my students use, the one that turns your background into proof and gets callbacks and job offers, I dropped the link in the description. Go check it out if you ever want to work with me. Other than that, you will probably like this next video coming up. I'll see you in the next one.